All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we're going to take a look at some things here. See if we can find a couple scalps today. First and foremost, let's go ahead and get the Bitcoin analysis out of the way. So Bitcoin had a pretty dramatic down day Sunday evening going into the weekly open for this week. And then it had a pretty massive down day in the middle of the night. So that's your expansion that you're currently working on right now. Basically, what you've done this month is you've tested the 618 retracement of August's range. August was a down candle as it did make fresh monthly low after fresh monthly low until we ran into September's open. September then liquidated August's low, and for the first 3 weeks of September, you have been seeing Bitcoin slowly ascend to the upside, testing August 618, setting a second lower high, thus giving us an upside trend line here. And you've also busted the September trend line to the downside. Now, this trend line is a little bit parabolic, to be honest with you, so we expect parabolic trend lines to be broken. The most important thing that we got going on here is this is your old resistance level. So for the entire monthly range for September, this actually held as resistance back at the beginning of September. September 3rd was the first day that we actually tested and rejected that price. Then we tested and rejected again on September the 5th, once again on the 8th, and then the 9th. And it wasn't until the 10th of September that you actually got an upside break, breaking out above that resistance level, making that point the midpoint. So thus saying, yes, this breakout appears to be legit. We then got 2 days of upside continuation. Continuation just means you made a higher high and a higher close. Boom, boom. Then we went into a period of about 9 days of consolidation. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, 10 on the 10th day, you broke down, breaking the September VWAP, breaking back down through the 382 of August's range, creating a new range for the month of September. We're not going to fib September's range until we start Q4. All right. And that is very important because a lot of people are starting to think that maybe this is going to be a lower high. It's important to remember that September and August are weak historically, both of those months. We're getting ready to go into October. October is a fresh new month and it's a fresh Q4 open. So we could see a little bit of sideways price action until then. There is exactly 7 days and 11 hours left on this quarterly candle. This is the level that we want to see hold support, as it did act as resistance for so many days back early in September's range. This is the first time that we retested that level on the breakdown since we broke out. So this is where we want to see support build in. It could take multiple days. It could have already built in. We don't know. What we do know is yesterday, when we set the low of day, we opened a new daily candle at the Asian session open. We traded down for the first 3 hours in the Asian session, liquidated the previous day's low, and that is, of course, where we are today. So as intraday scalpers, it's your job to identify all of that objectivity or the objective price action that you are currently seeing, and then make your trading decisions based around that info. That daily resistance level, the price that's so important for daily closes, is really close to 112,580. It's going to be 112,574. That would be the exact objective price. So that's where we're currently watching right now. As you can see, you did close a couple 4-hour candles under that old daily res. You did set in a 4-hour demand zone right here. I don't typically like demand zones to be like this. I like the demand candles to be small range candles, small wick, small range. This is a rather large range candle. So for that to act as demand would be, I don't know, it'd be pretty close. I mean, we'll see what it does, but these right in here, this little box is where I'd be interested in potentially putting on longs, and at the very lowest around 112,409. If you're trading under this current 4-hour support, it's just the nearest 4-hour support, then you got to be careful because you could be coming down to 112 exactly. So this would be my favorite place to buy if we were in fact to wick down there. Obviously, I still want to be a buyer as your current VIX is gapping up, so we have to keep that in mind. We did not see the S&P 500 pull back hard. Oh, sorry, over here's your S&P 500. This is Bitcoin dominance. S&P 500 over here. So it has not pulled back hard, even though the VIX has gapped up from last week's close. So we are elevated on the VIX as far as where we closed last week. So if the VIX does start to push lower again, then I would be interested in buying Bitcoin. I would assume that Bitcoin's this big range right here, the majority of it would probably be retested, or at the very minimum, we would at least get back up to the 21. So I'm not looking for massive downside continuation from here. I think this move lower, it was a large move. It was almost 3% at one point. It is one of the biggest daily down days that we've seen on Bitcoin for a while. So we have to be, we have to be cautious. It could turn into something more, but in order for it to turn into more downside, I would want to see an expansion on the VIX higher, with the S&P 500 also pulling back. While the S&P is kind of pushing on strength, I don't necessarily want to get super bearish on Bitcoin. I would rather get short an asset that is weak. And this is what I've been saying for the entire month of September, that if I want to short in a crypto world, then I want to short an altcoin that is weak. So we were able to do that on Fartcoin. We shorted Fartcoin up here at 4-hour res, and it has been a magnificent short. I'm no longer in the position because I took profits on the trade 2 times. So the first initial time when we got the push into the trend line, I took off almost like 3/4 of the position. So I was only working with a very small position. We got so much downside continuation from that point, though, that the unrealized P&L was again bigger than the original trade. So I had to take it off again. And at that point, the position was literally just way too small to hold it. So I went ahead, closed the position out yesterday, and now I'm looking to enter new positions on it, but I don't want to look down here. Unfortunately, when that took place, we also got excessive moves out of Pingu and Bonk. All of these assets are weak or weaker. They're all kind of useless tokens. They're all meme tokens, so they don't really have much utility involved with them. So if I do want to short something looking for potential downside in the crypto market, then I would want to short something that is weak. Now, as far as longs today, we got Advantis. I've got a current long on this. I bought it in this area this morning. I was looking for a retest of this 1.93 level to get long this morning, but it just ran away and it didn't appear as if though it was going to come back. And this thing does pretty good once it starts trending. It does put in these excessive trending moves. A pretty big trending move to the downside here. If you would have been short up in there this morning, real early this morning, just after the London session, you would have been able to ride a pretty decent downside move. And as you can see, it literally bottomed out, got back above the intraday VWAP, and has been a decent trend back to the upside. The reason that I'm long or looking for strength here is because of the 4-hour structure. If you look at this chart, oh shit, sorry, let me pop that out. Sorry, there you go. I didn't realize you couldn't see the price, but anyway, if you look at this current 4-hour structure, this chart is bullish. It's been bullish for the entire month of September, and it had a massive move back up, or not back, but up into the 260, 265 area. That's where it's pulled back, and the pullback was not significant. It wasn't a pump and then dump. A pump and dump is where you pump and then you give it all back pretty quickly. No, this is actually pulled back slowly. It is pulled back into support and formed a support. So it does look as if, though, with this reaction here, because if you this would be your support right over here. This would be support. That's your lowest close. You get a bounce, and then boom, that's the breakdown. So in this scenario, we would typically be looking for downside continuation. Instead, we did not get that. You almost put in a bullish engulfing. It isn't. You didn't take out the candles low or high. So this candle is an inside candle from this breakdown. So what we need for upside continuation clearly is we need to smoke this candle's high, in my opinion. If we could get above this and see upside continuation, we could potentially see this thing make another run. And with this expansionary phase through here, this consolidation, that literally gives you a potential measured move. And that potential measured move would be pretty big. It would be coming from like 1.4 all the way up to 2.6. And that would give you like a 2-spot 80-ish long side target. Now, obviously, that's only if it breaks out and gets upside continuation. If it fails here and rolls over, then obviously my upside target would be smashed, and you would more than likely be looking for a downside break. All right. So this one we're watching. And then another one that I currently have a long on but have already taken profits is on AIC. This thing is up 64% on the day. If we come up here to the week's platform and then we toggle on our watch list, we have this platform has a built-in scanner for you to be able to find assets that are moving, assets that have the biggest upside or the biggest past 24-hour price change. And right now AIC is leading the pack. You are currently up 200% from where you were yesterday. So obviously this thing is moving. So if you're going to trade these, please be very, very careful. Yesterday we were watching another small liquid asset like this in I don't remember what the name of it was. Damn it. I've actually deleted it off my watch list, so I don't remember what it was, but it went up multiple hundreds of percent at one point. It was up several hundreds of percent. So if you're trying to short things like that, you could literally get killed if you don't get a stop in place. But anyway, looking at the AIC trade over here, I've already taken $320 profit off the trade. I've also did pretty good yesterday, and of course Sunday with the fart coin and all that. Like we're really starting the week off strong again this week. Last week was a phenomenal week. This week we're already up pretty nicely, so things are going pretty good so far. There is the Advantage trade right there. This is the current position. I was looking to get filled at the last 4-hour candles open, and as you can see, before I could get filled, it took off. So I kind of chased it because I was looking for it to have upside continuation. So I just went ahead, filled the trade where it was, put the stop in. Whatever happens, happens. But if it does break out and get a pretty nice expansion to the upside, we should be positioned okay there. But right now, we need to try to find something to open fresh on the day. So that's what we're going to be looking for today. Let me give me a real quick scan on Hemi. Is also up 80% right now. It is actually moving. It's actually up 64%. Let me get off of this one. I just colored my candles all up earlier this morning. I was bored. Oh, it was Pump. It was right there. We just were on it. Pump BTC USDT. This is the one that had a massive rip yesterday. Ultimately, it's going to be impossible to know where these things are going to top out, but this is a pump and dump. Whenever you see a massive move like that to the upside and then it instantly almost falls right off, those are generally going to be pump and dumps. Generally, right? But we were looking at this yesterday in here. I was telling my community, because Mondays we do a Discord or a private live stream for the Discord community, but we were looking at it over in here. And I was telling my community yesterday that whenever things are doing this, you don't typically want to be looking for shorts. I did have a short on that morning, but I ended up getting stopped out of that trade as I was not paying attention when I should have taken profits on it. But we were watching this range here, and then we quit the stream around noon, and it basically, that's when it took off. It put in this crazy period of time here of like a little bit over an hour where it looked like the volume just essentially fell off. Like what volume it was trading, it just stopped. And then all of a sudden, the volume came back in a big way. And this thing ended up going from 23 cents around noon all the way up to over 80 and then falling hard. This is a pump and dump. So if you are looking for shorts, maybe wait until you see that excessive downside move. You can do that a myriad of different ways. You can look for the asset to give back, say, 30 to 40 or maybe even 50% of the value. So like if you're pushing into the wherever price and then you drop 30 to 40 or 50%, it's a pretty good thing. Like you could go ahead and say, like, more than likely this is a pump and dump, because when it's really bullish, you're not making those lower lows, right? Once we put in this sideways price action here, every swing low was higher than the last. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, this thing took off. Absolutely insane move. We're seeing a lot of cryptos do this. This ultimately up at the high was almost 300% in one day. So the reason I think we're seeing this happen is because we're in full-blown alt season. Your markets overall are bullish, like the overall marketplace as a whole. If you're talking about dollar, you're talking about S&P 500, the IWM, the NASDAQ, your tech sector, like all of these things are all bullish, up, putting in new all-time highs. Bitcoin not doing much, but the market as a whole is. So we are seeing tons of risk on come into some of these assets. So the way that we want to scalp them is we want to find the ones that are moving, look for the basing action or look for price action to put in a base, and then look to be a buyer on it at support. And the way we were tracking this yesterday was simply looking at the 4-hour candlestick ranges, because on past price action, it's already identified that area as a range. So we already know if it's going to pull back, how deep the pullback could be, and where resistance could also be. So we can pick our entries around places like that. All right. But yeah, this one is over with. It's done. It gave back all of it, literally more than what it gave you. So I wouldn't be interested in buying this anymore. Obviously, whoever owned most of the supply sold it. That's why it dumped. It's literally like a rug pull type of thing. So if you are going to scalp these very, very fast moving alts, you need to have profit targets situated. You need to take profits, move stops. That way, any crazy upside that you get, you could, just be sitting in it. And then once the position size gets big again, you take more profits. You just scalp it and take profits as it's moving in your direction. Because clearly we never know where they're going to roll over, where they're going to turn around, and none of that stuff. All we can do is look for really good areas to put on risk and then manage that risk as price breaks out or drops if you're looking for shorts. I don't like shorting things that are up more than 50% in a daily range, simply because that's a big gain for a day. One day move 50% is huge, right? So jumping in front of the shorts on something like that is dangerous, especially when we're seeing multiple days in a row, multiple weeks now, not even days. Like we're looking at weeks where the top 4 or top 5 movers on the day go in to put on or put in fresh highs. So you don't typically want to be looking to short those things, right? Or getting in the way of them. Not all of them are going to have explosive moves to the upside, but, you know. And one last thing about that, make sure the ones that you're trading have a lot of liquidity, because you can get into a position like on this one where it's only had 79,000 tokens traded and it's a 10-cent asset. It's only worth 10 cents per token. You can get in a situation to where it's hard to get in, or it's easy to get in and then hard to get out. And if this thing has a 100% pump in a split second, you're going to get liquidated if you're using any leverage whatsoever. So just be very careful. They are big movers. If you're going in, make sure you're taking a stop loss in with you. I can't stress that enough. Make sure that stop loss is going with you. All right, coming back over here. So Bitcoin pulling back. We're looking for support. Ethereum is way worse. It actually made a fresh September low. So Bitcoin hasn't, right? Bitcoin hasn't even retested the September open yet. Not only did Ethereum break under September's open, you set fresh monthly low. Not quite sure if we took out August's low or not. Let's go take a look. No, nowhere near August's low. All right, so even though it looks nasty on the daily, right? This looks nasty. It looks like an obvious rejection. This trend line was down here, then it got moved up, then it got moved up again. So maybe on the third touch of that, maybe you could look for shorts, but I don't really like looking for shorts down here after making a fresh monthly low. But I can tell you one thing right now, you are currently trading under that fresh monthly low. So it's not looking like it wants to be a liquidation rejection or a liquidation break where you basically liquidate the monthly range and then break back up into the range, as we did get up into the range today. But it's failing at the weekly VWAP. So doesn't look great, but looking at it on a monthly time frame, it does not look bad either. As long as you're trading above August's midpoint, which is currently real close to where you're trading right now, this still just looks like a pullback candle, right? You had 2 really good explosive bullish months on Ethereum. This month, you're pulling back, right? Not really bearish. If it's really bearish, you would be taking out previous month lows. You're not even under the midpoint here. So though it looks pretty bad on the daily, you are under major moving averages that I would be keeping my eyes on. You're under them. We gotta still, as long as the bulls are buying up the overall risk markets, we got to be very careful about jumping into shorts a little bit too early, because the markets are still very bullish, just not really Bitcoin and Ethereum. So right now, Event is currently breaking out to the upside, so that looks good. Once I get above $300, that's typically where I want to look to take profits, because I'm generally looking to average about $350 per day, because I'm trading with a small account. I trade with small positions, real money on accounts, so people can see that you can make money consistently in the markets. It's not a fable, it's not a fad, it's not a lie. And I don't say that I'm sitting here and predicting what price is doing. I am simply showing you it is so easy to manage risk as long as you're not out there gambling and throwing massive amounts of money at these things with excessive leverage. You can consistently pull in returns bigger than what you're losing when you're wrong, right? So we do this almost consistently every day. Almost every day. We're putting in, a couple $100 worth of profits daily, closing weeks out in the mid 2s, 3K range on a weekly basis. If you can do that, you're going to be just fine in this game. But anyway, let me get a take profit set. I hope I'm not too late for it. It's all good. I've already made my $300 today, but it's okay if I want to take another $300. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So just give me 1 second. Let me get this situated. for whatever reason, weeks won't allow me to enter a partial position while I have a stop loss out. So we're up 183% on the initial risk that we put on the table. So we want to go ahead and just say maybe take profits at 200%. We're going to close 75% of the position. That way we're taking 3/4 of our profit off the table. And then we'll set the risk back to, we don't want to lose any, and we want that to be set to 100% of the position size. So this is me routing an order saying, hey, I want to close 3/4 of the position at 200% return. And after that happens, if that happens, I want to stop loss at 0%. So if price rejects in my face and goes all the way back to my entry, I'm not losing a single dime. Boom. And there we go. So I don't even really need for it to go up that much to make 200%, which isn't bad. On $144, that's about $300. Now, we won't realize $300. We'll realize whatever, like $250 or whatever, but it's still, this is what I'm generally looking for on a day-to-day basis. All right, let's go look and see if we can find a new entry on a new trade. We got Jasmine here. I'll just take a screenshot of my watch list for you, show you what we're working with, what we're looking at, what's moving, what's not. So most of these are probably going to look like Bitcoin and Ethereum, where most of them are probably going to have significant down days yesterday. But currently right now, Book of Meme is down 0.5%. Book of Meme can move as much as 5 and up to 10% in a day's range. So that could be a potential short entry. Fartcoin is up, or I'm sorry, down less than 1%. Fartcoin had a big move, so I wouldn't be necessarily looking for Fartcoin to have another big move. I would be looking at something else. Jasmine's up almost 1.5%. Pepe's up almost 1%. Hype, this is the Hyper Liquid Exchange. And see there, not really, it's pretty much unchanged. LPT 2%. Litecoin almost 1%. And not really seeing anything. Let's go look at Kronos. Kronos is another one that did have really good news. Had a fantastic 3 days, and then it went into this long-term consolidation period. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it for I don't really like it for anything. But we'll see if it holds support. It hasn't been. It's been making lower closes pretty much each day. This was since Saturday. Since Friday, actually. Thursday was a higher close, then Friday was a lower close, Saturday lower close, Sunday lower close, yesterday lower close. They're literally been trending 4 days in a row here to the downside. Maybe wait until this builds in support. So you can see you put in this range here to the downside after a bounce, put in this. So that's probably going to be the range for a big portion of the day. Right? So like in this block here. So if you fail here, we could expect it to get down into here, but there's also a midpoint that it could contend with, but we'll find something else. There has to be. I just got filled on that trade, $216 worth of profit. That makes today a $550 day. Not bad. All right, W looks like it maybe have found a little bit of support here. I like the ones that put in the sideways support. So here's Solana, putting in sideways support. Big down day. You've already liquidated yesterday's low. So as far as downside targets, they've already been objective. They're like, just picture yourself getting short at the open, at the Asian session. Where you target? Your target's probably the low day here. So you got that move already. So the short side trade has already pretty much been done. Could it happen again? Absolutely. It could. It could, but we're still a little bit low. Let's just take a look. We're not going to rush it. We're going to take a look. We're going to see if we can find something that is moving. that is giving us a setup. They're all probably going to look like that. Yeah, if the music is too loud, please let me know. I did get a comment on the last video, and somebody did say that the music was a little bit loud. It's not really distractful to people that speak English. It's the people that don't speak very good English. The music can be distracting. Let me know. I have no problem with turning it down. I have no problem with turning it off, to be honest with you. I basically let the music run low in the background, so that way when I don't talk, there's no dead space, if you will. Because YouTube has a bad habit of running ads when live streamers start to be quiet for more than 2 seconds. I have no control over YouTube picking and choosing where it's wanting to run ads. I used to have the control to do it, but not anymore. So LPT is actually retesting the 100 exponential on a 30-minute time frame. Let's see where we are and everything else. We're well under the 50 here, so that means we're going to be well under the 21. But the 30-minute 100 is being tested on the intraday time frame. So it's not an all-in, it's not a, all-in be-all, but it does look like it is rejecting here a little bit. So basically what I would be looking to do is looking for a rejection above the 4-hour swing high, the last 4-hour candle swing high. So you can see here on the 30-minute, it's literally right where the sellers hit it. I'm not the only one that deploys these kind of strategies, guys. That's why they work. So keep an eye on that. If it rejects there again, we'll potentially look to put on a short on LPT USDT. Current trades that we're in as far as stocks, right now we have long on MicroStrategy. We have a long, we bought it down here around the August low last week. We got a nice breakout move, but for whatever reason, it didn't close the trade. And now it's pulling back because of that sizable down move that we saw in Bitcoin. So not really sitting in a loss here, but at the same time, I got to know when to bail. So I'm going to gauge that risk via September's opening price. That's $334.93. If we close today under it, I'm just going to bail on the trade, as this will be more than likely, in my opinion, a rejection. And I don't want to wait for it to break under August's low to get out. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, it looked like it was going to do that. So if it can't hold support here and start to rise again back to the upside, then I'm going to be more hesitant about holding the position long. But MicroStrategy, we're long an option call spread. It's just a vertical call spread. There's a lot of different names for the same trade, but it's just a call spread. You can see here how we are rejecting that 30-minute 100. Once again, it's just something that I watch on an intraday basis to kind of judge trend strength. So typically I want this area to hold as support when we're moving up, right? But since we've already broke back down under it and haven't even been strong enough to fill the gap to the upside, it's kind of concerning to me. So I want to see it find support today and start to rally back above this point, or I'm going to get really concerned. Another one that we're in is Lyft. It doesn't appear to be doing anything. So I don't remember when we put this position on or why. I just see that I am in it. I think this is a long-term. Yeah, we looked at this on a longer-term basis because you are currently breaking out of a multi-year range. This is a multi-year range, so you're breaking out above it. I think the way that I analyzed it was, as long as we're trading above that point, then I can hold longs. we're trading back under that, then we're back in the range, and there's a chance it's reversing. There's not enough demand up here to give us that upside move. There is a large or a significant gap under price. We typically don't really care about gaps. However, they do often fill. We know that. We know that for a fact. So if it has trouble breaking out above Wednesday, September the 17th high with upside continuation, and it does look like it wants to come back in and fill the gap, we'll probably look to close that and maybe enter after gap fill or on another support zone. I know we did enter it last week. We were open all day yesterday. We're opening a new day today. So we've been in the trade at least 4 days, right? 3 to 4 days. 4 days exactly is what the platform says. And then ConocoPhillips, we took a short on that. Ticker symbol COP. And clearly, this is a false break. It's a false breakdown. It's the second time an oil stock has done this to us. All right, the first one we took was the oil ETF. The ETF that tracks oil, which would be USO. We looked for this breakdown to give us continuation. It didn't. It broke back up into the range, thus making a false breakdown. And then we broke down here, and once again, it found support at August's low. So we've already liquidated August's low. We were looking for a push down for a fresh monthly low. And that this little biatch is bouncing. So probably going to close this today as it's losing $40. Right? Yeah, that's about my risk on this small account over here. Once we get to about $50 worth of risk, I generally want to get out because it's not doing what I want it to do. If it's not doing what I want it to do, then I will get out and move on. Look for some other stock to trade. Right? We did good on last week on Tesla. So there are plays out there. We just have to find them. So you guys can help me find them by, if you already know where a setup is, let me know and we'll take it. So apparently it got filled on a Bitcoin long here. I forgot about having that order out there. Yeah, I don't even know why I would want to fill there. I would want to fill here, not up there. Oh, yeah, I tried to get long before this candle opened, when this wick pushed into it. That's what I did. I set the limit there to get long. This is probably going to get stopped out. So let me go ahead and situate a stop here. I opened this position with almost $1,000. That's right here. If you're not familiar with this platform, this is the position size. This is the leverage. I got 20x leverage on almost $1,000. So it is a pretty sizable position if Bitcoin decided it wanted to trend up today. Could make a little bit of money there, but I'm going to set this stop loss to where I do not lose more than $40. So right there, 4% move under my entry would cause me to lose $37. And that would be about down there. So stop is set on this one. So I'm risking generally about $30 to try to make 300. It's not a bad risk to reward. The reason I do it this way is because my account size is being, or my daily risk is being derived from my main or my total account balance, not what I'm trading with. Right now, I'm only trading with $2,000. So my main account balance is 15 grand. You do not need 15 grand on exchange. 1 grand on this exchange is more than enough to make a couple $100 with very small position sizing. But I'm looking to risk about 150, and I break that down in $30 increments. So that gives me 3 opportunities daily, risking $30 a pop. If I get stopped out on all 3 trades, then I'm losing $90. So it's really more like a risk 1 to make 2.5 to 3 than it is a risk 1 to make 10. Okay. I don't want you guys to think that I'm trying to pull something over your eyes or something like that. No, I'm not looking for a 10x return on a daily basis. I know that I don't know what the market's ever going to do, and I can never successfully predict what it will do in the future. So sometimes we have to take multiple entries in order to get the right position, right? And I don't want to take more than a $90 loss in a given day. So if I get stopped out 3 times trying to put on a position, I'm done. I'm done. It's over. I'm obviously not, I'm not like in the zone, if you will. But this one's doing okay. It's already been paid. This one's already been paid. There's what I've realized. This is unrealized. So I made 320 already this morning on AIC. I made 216 already on AVNT, and now I'm long Bitcoin or BTC, and obviously it's not moved enough to do anything. So we'll just leave this as I continue to go look for other positions, but I forgot that was up there. So I should have just exited it or took that limit order off, because I want to put that capital to work in something else if I find a better setup. That's not a great setup, in my opinion, on Bitcoin. So you can try it if you want. Like I said, I do not have a clue what price is going to do. All right. Let's see if anybody's giving me something to look at. Greetings all. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Good morning, Janice Thoughts. Good morning, Wes. Good morning, Brian. Tom, the Agile Trader, Run DMC. 555, Lifestyle Media. Wes. Philip. VT Billions. What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a good week. Hopefully your week last week was good. I only want success for you all. Yeah, HEMI USDT for a scalp maybe looks strong. Yeah, HEMI USDT is currently up 71%. It is very strong on the day. The problem with this one is it's already started its move. But here on the 5-minute, it does look like it's trying to base up. All right, so let's go look at the 4-hour. We got a massive 4-hour range here. So I don't like taking longs near the highs. But if that's what price gives you, then that's what you have to do, right? And then the last thing we can do is we can fib the range, get the midpoint when the range is big like this. Boom. And then there is the levels that we're going to be looking for entries if we're going to be looking for upside expansion or continuation. And it's basically just a couple 5-minute candles that set that range. So we may need it to pull back a little bit deeper. We want to mark this as the mid, so we know for sure that's mid. If it holds mid as support, that's good. We can look for it to run back to the upside. It rolled over at 18 cents exactly. I don't love that, because if you look here, like 161116, like it's moving a whole bunch of decimal places to nail that many perfect zeros in a row. Makes me feel as if though it's being manipulated a little bit, like someone wanted out, whoever wanted out up there exhausted demand at 18 cents exactly. So you wicked up into 18 cents and literally pulled back. So whatever order iceberg was setting up there was massive, right? The buyers were unable to push through. So it's pulled back. It's pulled back. I guess that's close enough. Roughly 16%. Not great, not terrible either. So basically what I would do here is I would just simply watch to see if it bases up around support, and then watch on the very small time frame. If you want to, you don't have to. As I tell my audience over time and time again, I only look at the 4-hour chart. I really do not pay attention to those small time frame charts. It's just a lot of sideways price action, generally speaking. I just want to know what's going on over here and where are we at in relevance to my levels that I'm watching, right? I don't really care what kind of 1 minute and 5 minute candles are being produced there. I will know if price is going to blast through it because it will just dump, right? But if you want to look for patterns inside of the daily range on a 1 minute chart, you can do whatever you want to do, right? I'm just trying to help you learn how to manage risk, how to identify trend, things like that. Those are the most important aspects to trading. First, identify trend. Second, mitigate risk. That's it. It's not rocket science. I seen a big post today on Trader XO's Twitter account where a guy was asking how much screen time is required to be successful in this business. He gave a massive response to that answer. I didn't read through all of it, but right here, Bobo asked how much screen time did this require per week on average? I simply said you can't predict what price will do regardless how much you stare at the monitor, which is all factual and true. After you know the platform and learn how to route orders, trading is trend identification and risk management. It's simple as that, guys. That's all it is. A lot of bullshit I've read on here. Like this, absolute bullshit. Screen time is still an undefeated regardless. The more hours you spend watching price, the more your brain absorbs hidden patterns. Absolute garbage. Your brain will find patterns, but your brain is looking at patterns in chaos. It's a coin flip. One day it just clicks. Oh, that must be why you're so good at it. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Identify the trend and then put risk on. It's mitigating the risk. You're not losing more money when you're wrong than you're making when you're right. It's that simple. It's math. ConocoPhillips pushing. Oil must be absolutely exploding to the upside. Let me pull up oil real quick. Yeah, this is bad. This is really, really bad. Really, really wrong on oil, guys. That's what I'm talking about. How is your brain going to identify a pattern in this garbage? This is intraday chaos. It's literal random market violence. Obviously, the sellers were looking for that breakdown pattern to continue, and the buyers said, nuh-uh. And there's no way to predict that's ever going to happen. Right? If there was, I've been doing this for almost 15 years. Been doing it profitably for a long time. And I still can't make heads or tails out of that. Right? This is a massive range of chop. We were just looking for it to break down and continue. It did not. So probably going to exit this. This is the US oil or WTI oil spot price. So this tracks what futures is doing currently on like the CL /CL is your crude light oil futures. And that's a pretty sizable update right there. We look at the 4-hour candle. That is a massive explosion off of a breakdown of support. That's a trap. Then you exploded to the upside. I would likely expect continuation from this. There was probably some oil news that came out. Now, it doesn't mean it can't roll over from here because look what it did over here. It did something similar. Had a massive explosive move then another continuation candle, and then it spent many days of pulling back. How can I tell you what this is going to do? Looking at this chart, you can't, right? So right now we're eating a whole lot of heat on that trade. We're losing money. We're in the red. So do you want to continue to stay in the red, or do you want to just close that position out, wait for it to find resistance somewhere, and then maybe try it again later at a later date? That sounds like the more feasible thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and send that ConocoPhillips order out, because I know it is not easy to get filled on this thing. For whatever reason, the options trade very, I don't know, not very liquid. It's just a single put. It's not a spread, so you can lose the entire amount of premium that we paid. Judging by these spread or these option prices up here in the money, I would say we're probably losing close to $100 on this trade at this point. We're losing $84. Let's see if we can get it down to 72. We'll send that. It's okay if we eat. Oh, I got filled instantly. So the platform's trying to make me out look to be a liar. When we tried to get in the trade last week, it took like multiple send-offs before we got filled. But getting out with a loss, it filled easy. Now it'll roll over and hit $50. That's trading. It is what it is. Small losses, just wipe it off. Shrug it off. It means nothing. Dust off them shoulders. Yeah, we'll let oil do what it wants to do for a while. It's obviously not trending here. Big range. We can look at the monthly time frame. We can see that we're still trading in April's range. So until we take out April's high and continue, or until we take out April's low and continue, we are not trending. We are range bound. Range bound. Yuckity yuck. Piano keys. So yeah, we're pretty much in the middle of the range. It's like kind of the worst place to take the trade. I think we were basing the trade off of August's range, because August did break down and close under July's low. So if we were going to see continuation in the month of September, we never know if we are going to see continuation or not, right? But if we were, we wanted to be short or long puts. We wanted to be holding puts. And you can see you're basically, you've liquidated August's low, and the buyers showed up, as they generally do. Price generally does trade sideways and choppy like this, right? Oh, we didn't. We liquidated it a long time ago. Yeah, we didn't even liquidate it here yesterday. But nonetheless, we're above yesterday's high and above it pretty good. Next upside target, guys, would have to be Friday's high, right? You've already taken out Monday's high, so the only other logical area for it to go would be Friday's high. So I don't want to sit in that. So I'm out. I'm out of this position. If you're still holding it, you shouldn't. All right? All right. That being said, because I don't want you to wake up Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday and it be trading at $64. Like, that would be a much bigger loss. Much bigger than it has to be. That's what we have control over. How much we lose when we're wrong. The only point of control in this game is what you lose when you're wrong. You can control that and only that. So yeah. All right. So this doing its own thing. Let's go look to see. I do like Hemi. So we're going to keep this on watch for sure. And we want to see if we pull back to the mid. That would be a good place to be a buyer if it holds. I'm going to set an alert here on the mid on Hemi. I got 3 tabs pulled up of Hemi. And an alert here. Why? I don't want that. Is that literally, wait. $14.9656. Yeah, this is a different alert. Let's delete that one. We don't need that one. It's currently trading above intraday VWAP, currently trading above weekly VWAP. So it does look good, looks constructive. If we get to the point to where we dump and then we start trending under the intraday VWAP, I would not be looking to be a buyer at that point. Because notice what it did since the open here, right? Here's your open of the day. So for Tuesday's range, we opened and we traded very choppy and sideways around that intraday VWAP. Then the buyers showed up, held support, and it's been climbing ever since. Pushed down into the VWAP and exploded to the upside. So at any point, like if say this thing stays choppy for the rest of the session until I'm no longer live again, and then it like breaks down under the VWAP and then starts to make lower highs and lower lows under the VWAP, I would not be interested in buying it at that point. But as long as it's holding that 4-hour midpoint, we like it, right? That's roughly in this area in here. So just drop below these lows a little bit, come in, tag this, and then hold, and we'll throw on a long. Absolutely. So I got an alert set for that. Let's see if we can find something else real quick. What's XMR doing? It's probably extremely sideways and choppy. Not really. It's been pulling back for a few days here after a pretty sizable bullish run. It rejected August's high, so that's not great news. But it could just be a pullback for the month of September. We are late in the month of September. We only have 7 days left. Oh, there's the midpoint of August. So let's color this maroon. So basically, if I would want to see it hold support in this area, you can see how that August midpoint acted as a resistance for like 8-9 days here. No daily closes above, just many wicks. Then this, boom. That's your breakout. So this would be the point of support. It looks like it's trying to find support higher, but I would like it a lot better if it was able to liquidate yesterday's low and then bounce. But we'll see. If Bitcoin stays moving higher today on an intraday basis, I mean the 4-hour, 2 4-hour wicks down in here to 4-hour demand, it does look constructive. I would say there are a lot of shorts up at 13.5 based on that 4-hour wick. We could go look at our liquidation points here. Now, yesterday we took out this white hot liquid zone right in here. And then yesterday we had thin liquidity down here. So I basically told my members to, you know, we're more than likely going to build in liquidity down here and then build in that liquidity back up in here. So expect prices to be choppy for the majority of the week, filling in all of this fresh smoked liquidity. That is also why we kind of want to be long. So many people are going to look at this as the death of Bitcoin. because Bitcoin has been trading such small daily ranges for such a long time. To see a 2% move looks real bad on the daily and 4 hour. Looks like it's getting ready to go to zero. So more than likely it'll spend the rest of the week slowly grinding back to the upside until the sellers show back up again. They could show up here. People will be trying to short 4 hour res. They will be trying to short the daily high. It's not really doing anything, and it hasn't been doing anything since 1 o'clock in the morning. So literally, London session put in a higher intraday low, and you haven't really gone anywhere from that. But same concept here. We're just looking for the price has already set this range, so we know price can continue to trade in this range, right? It's will make money if it breaks out of the range. So the actual skill in placing orders would be getting fills closer to our range areas, right? That's where your skill or chart time would be helpful. But other than that, it's just a time frame preference. You could buy daily opens every day. That could be your trading strategy. And if you get into a period of where you get multiple down days in a row, then clearly you're wrong. So that identifying trend, where those pullbacks could be, right? Buy the open here, buy the open there, buy the open there. You're still up, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's time frame, perspective. On an intraday basis, this is simply trading in a range. We need it to break out. This is going to be the September VWAP. I would probably expect some wiggling to go on there. I don't expect price to just blast through it. And we're seeing wiggling right through here because this is the weekly VWAP. We're only in Tuesday. So the week just got started. We're 2 days into this weekly range. The weekly range is already much more significant than last week's range. We've already taken out way more than last week's low. So as far as like a move lower on a weekly range, this could end up being the entire weekly range. It might not be. Bitcoin could find resistance and roll over and make fresh weekly lows at some point this week. But we'll see what it does here. LPT going back up to test the level that we were talking about. Is LPT even tradable? Let's go see what this thing moves on average. The way that I do that, if you're new here, is I use the ATR, or the average true range indicator, on the daily time frame. I get my average 14-day range. This tells me that the average for the last 14 days is about 0.47. So about 47 cents per day is what this thing moves. So if we were to short it from here, which is that 30-minute area that we're watching, could we even hypothetically get a 45-cent move? A 45-cent move would put you down here to this low. That is a 6% move if you were to get that. So yes, it checks the box. It moves enough. We don't know that it will move 6% today to the downside, right? But we know it can. So at least with that perspective, the probabilities are on our side. So with that, I wouldn't be looking for a full-on 6% move. I would probably be looking for like a 2.5 or 3% move. I would say 3, because that's half of the average. So if it rejects resistance here, which it is intraday resistance, it's the highest closing 30-minute period right there. So if it does reject this price and roll over, our downside target would be $6.28. $6.28, because this is also a potential support. So we don't want to put it right at 625 because it might not get down there. It could trade down to here and stop. Could put in a move like this. Right? Yeah, I could do that. So that's what we would be looking for if we did enter a short position. That's what we would want price to do. So let's keep this real close and on watch. In theory, could one enter a short here based on the 30-minute range? You could, but I like the 4-hour swings better myself. It's just an experience thing, right? I've seen 30-minute candles not be respected. I mean, it didn't really respect it here, right? Look how far it moved above that resistance. So I don't want to short it if it's trading above this price. So if it trades above it and does something like this and puts in a higher high, I don't want to short it then. Because where could it be going? It could be going to here. It could be looking to run above this swing high. So I don't want to short if it's running up to that price. If it gets up here and rejects, then I want to throw on a short for a potential move lower, right? Good stuff. You guys are right on board. All right. So entry 645 on limit. Pull up LPT. We can't predict what price will do, so make sure if you take this trade, you are only risking an amount of money that you can afford to lose. I'm up pretty good today, up $500, so I have a lot more than $30 I could put on risk. However, with that being said, I'm not going to put on more than $30 worth of risk. Now, I'm going to put on more than a $30 position size. I'm going to try to put on about $150. And let me just verify with weeks that that is the same price. Get you up there. So here's LPT. The funding rate right now is paying longs. That's one thing right there that can go against us. Here is the funding rate. Now its countdown says that we got an hour left until the next funding round. It will probably be at least 4 hours and up to 8. But I think Weeks likes to stick around the 4-hour level. So every 4 hours as of right now, the longs are being paid 0.007351% to just set and hold longs. But right now, the exchange is telling people you'll get paid if you hold longs. So that kind of puts the short against us a little bit, not too much. This is a pretty cheap funding rate. So it is tradable. And the price that we're looking to short is here, not above it, right there. So I'm not going to put a limit short to open here, not yet. I want to see price get up there and reject. The way that I can do that is by watching the small time frame, the 1 minute, or we can go way down if you want, 30 second. We could go 10 seconds if you want. It doesn't really matter the time, right? The time frame doesn't matter. What matters is, what does price do? Does it get up here and fail? If it does, then we want to put our our short on as close to 645 as possible. We don't want to chase it down here either, because if we put on a short right this second and then we get the move that we're looking for, that's going to be 0.3% against our position. Right off the bat, we're going to be eating a loss. We want to be smart. We want to be patient. We don't care if we miss this trade. If it drops without us, oh well, right? You got to be like that. We need the price to do what we want it to do. Then we like it and we'll take it. Because even waiting for all of that still does not mean that you will make money on this trade. Unfortunately, I promise you, if there was a guaranteed 100% way to make money in this business, I would share it to you for free. Because I would be using that method and I would be a trillionaire. I would not be giving a shit about ad revenue on YouTube or any other payment for that matter, because I have a 100% hit rate in my trading. I would be the richest man on the planet. I would risk every dime I have with max leverage every trade. And you talk about compounding interest. Whoa. It wouldn't take me very long to become a trillionaire. I'd say 1 year, tops. One year tops with a 100% hit rate trading strategy. We don't need to look at the 10-second. We can watch the minute. It looks thinly traded, but it could just be the exchange I'm looking at. Binance is the most active. They do have the most volumes. I don't know why. The 24-hour volume on this is 14 million coins traded, so there is plenty of liquidity in this asset. It might just have a huge float. If it has a huge float, then that might be actually light liquidity. I don't really know. We could ask Grok. Someone's alerting me on Discord. When I'm live, I don't get the alerts for whatever reason. I am not, Brian. I am not in the COP trade. I closed it. All right. With that being said, we're just going to watch this. We're also looking for Hemi to pull back for us. We want to watch what happens to it if it gets down in this area. If it continues to base out as support up here, is that a legitimate trade act? Or like, could you enter the trade there? You could, but you're in the middle of the range. This is the range low and the range high for now. This from down here is the 4-hour range low to range high. So this is just the midpoint. So if it fails to go under this point, then we know this asset has more strength than it does weakness. If it blasts right through the midpoint, then we're going to be like, well, it could be trying to make a new low. So we definitely don't want to be getting in it, right? I mean, if you look at the 4-hour chart, you can see that's pretty much how these things trade. They expand for a few hours and then they go into consolidation. And then once the consolidation is pretty much either A, bought up, or B, sold off, you will leave that consolidation in that direction. So, and this is a large range. So what we want to see is we want to see this candle like kind of not able to close under this point. We want to see it close up and strong. We want to be a BTFD. We want to buy the effing dip if the dip holds. Also, like if you were watching the 1 minute with a couple momentum oscillators, right? You'd be looking for like an oversold test while you're testing that area of support. Maybe that gives you a little bit more confidence. The smaller the time frame you look at, obviously will mean that you will hit oversold much quicker. Like, for instance, here, you hit oversold on the 30 second without even tagging the midpoint. Now, that looks good to me. It looks strong, right? You came in and it got front ran. Like, buyers are so anxious to get into this asset, they didn't even allow it to test the midpoint. That's one way you could look at it, all right? Unfortunately, the crypto market is manipulated. We know this to be true. All markets are manipulated. We manipulate price just by putting in orders. But there's no oversight on these things. So we do know that people that own the majority of the supply can influence price. That's a fact. So even if it does look like it's building in higher low support, at some point in the day, it could absolutely blast right through there once that demand is exhausted. And the demand could be exhausted if the person that owns the majority of the Hemi supply says, well, I want to get out at 18 cents. Then it doesn't matter who and how many people buy it. Right? Because the asset no longer has open supply. It's been given to the market. So it will absolutely collapse. So technical analysis is only good for identifying areas to put risk on. It's not good at telling you where price is going to go. MSTR trading like a butthole. I agree, Wes. Butthole garbage. NQ making fresh ATHs and MSTR just sucking. I agree. I don't like it either. Absolute garbage. 100%. NVIDIA long at old daily res 177. Let's go look at it. And you said specifically at 177.82. Let me just pull up 177.82. So I'm assuming you're talking about this close right here. That is the highest close. Not from over here, but from where we are here. So like 2 days ago, Friday, you couldn't close above that price. So yes, that is resistance. Could it end up being support? My answer is yes, it could. Absolutely. If the asset is going to remain strong based on that performance, I wouldn't be looking for that kind of an expansion every day. This is obviously above average as far as percent gain on daily range. So I would argue and say you could ultimately find support even higher, like here. I don't know that it will, but it could. So I like your level better as it is old resistance. And this isn't really anything, right? It's just a down day open. So if we were to like read this objectively, it would be a nice strong gap up, but then it sold off all day and closed back under resistance. This candle closed above resistance, so that then becomes the new resistance point. So yeah, if it does pull back into 177.82 and then holds at least on an intraday basis, you could put on risk there. Just make sure what you're risking is not an amount of money you cannot afford to lose, just in case it continues to go down. Not bad. I like it, Andrew. We can do even a bigger, like we can do even more as far as analysis if you want. Like, there's your yearly open. So objectively, this thing is bullish on the year. It's not, it's trying to break out of a 3-month range. That's good. You're at all-time highs. So this is the level to beat and hold. So it needs to show upside continuation beyond this point. Because in the month of August, you broke out, right? Because that wick is above the July high. But what happened? You failed. You failed that breakout and pulled back into August's range. So this is a consolidation point right here, right? And we do like to see breakouts, fresh all-time highs, consolidation at all-time highs. It looks good. It looks strong. So that's the range you're in. That's the level to beat. So I would probably rather look at something like August's open, right? And then we could fib August's range and see what's going on here. We really can't because we took out August's range. So we did smoke August's high right there and rejected. So that's the second time we've rejected these prices. You get what I'm saying? So I would want to, yeah, I think you're right. I think your price is better. If you're going to see upside continuation into fresh all-time highs, I think the buyers need to come up stronger than August's open. If price were to get back into August's open, you would literally be saying this move right here was a fake out, was a bull trap. So yes, I like your level better. And I like seeing that because that means you are advancing in trend identification. Doesn't mean you will be a profitable trader, but it will help you put on entries at more opportunistic areas. Fantastic work, bro. Good stuff. Yeah, 177.82. Love it. If it can test that level and hold, could potentially be a buyer there or a put seller, or there are a myriad of different positions we could put on. We'll wait and see what happens there, right? So I'm going to set an alert. I'm not going to take the trade anyway, or continue anyway. I'm not going to take the trade today, but I am interested in taking it down there with you. Me also see where the 21 exponential is also under that price, so that's good too. Yeah, I like it if it can hold that area. Yep. We can look for potential upside trend continuation if that level holds. Below that, we got to leave it alone to see what happens when it retests August. So we don't even need a fib in this scenario. We got the absolute perfect level to watch. Love it. Anyone here from the UK? Oh, I don't know. Probably. I can tell you what to do with the CL chart. Walk away from the market. Yeah, that chart's looking rough for shorts. Good morning, Heath. What's up, Chase? Can you look at GSK-PLC stock? I can. I don't know what that is. GSK-PLC. Maybe you're asking me to check PLC on GSK. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pulling that up the way you wrote it in the chat, and I'm not really seeing it. So could you maybe get the ticker from up here and tell me what it says up there? I can hit enter and see what happens. Oh, it pulls up a chart, amazingly, on the New York Stock Exchange. Even more amazingly. I do not know what this is. I've never traded it. The chart looks okay. It's in a multi-year consolidation. I gotta ask myself, why did this thing do so good going into 2013, but when we open the year 2014, we've literally not been able to do anything at all? Like, you've been fluctuating $20, $15 for so many years. Why? That's my first question. Second question is, it looks good. I'm not even going to joke. The fact that it can't break down is a good sign. So that tells me investors absolutely love this stock at $30. They love it so much, they've been buying every dip since 2014. That's a long-term consolidation, and you are up on the year. So the 2025, you're trending. You're not trending beyond these years. You're still inside. This is an inside candle. I don't love that you broke down first, but at least it was resolved. Monthly looks good. You're into monthly resistance. You're also trading inside June's range, which is good because this is a bear trap. So they tried to break it down in July and could not do it. So you might be getting ready to break out. I don't know. I don't love it as long as you're trading under August's high, but I don't love a buy there either. Not when I can clearly see the best price to buy this stock is $30. Like, so basically all I'm saying is, why would I want to give $38 for it when I can just simply wait for it to come back to 30? Here's the thing though, we don't know that it will come back to 30. Clearly, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. This thing could take off and give you a massive breakout to the upside. Huge short squeeze could take place above $46. So seeing that, I could potentially mitigate risk here, but you are doing it at the middle of the range. I would say let monthly res hold here if it does, and then maybe look for a pullback to, yeah, I mean, it's such a small price range. It's a slow mover. This thing moves like $1.50 all month. Very slow mover. That just simply means it's an easy asset to mitigate risk from. I don't see a setup here. The moving averages are not going to be helpful on this specific stock because it's so sideways. You know what I mean? So very sideways for so very long. Yeah, this would be something like I would just throw a little bit of money at it. You know what I mean? But not up here. I don't love it. Maybe if it could pull back to daily support down in here and hold, I would like it a little better. I would potentially like let that be the first opportunity I would take on it. I don't love it. Very slow mover. Something's, I mean, I don't even know how I'd find, I guess I could Google that, figure out what company that is or what kind of an asset this is. It literally doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me what it is. I have no clue. If you work for this company and you know something that I don't, then maybe that might influence a different decision. Just looking at the chart, I don't love it. I would rather it break out and then look to be a dip buyer on the breakout or something like that. Then buy it up here at $40, knowing that it's not been able to get above $40 and consistently run. All right. That's about the best I can do for you on that. Wes wants to see Coinbase. Yeah, it's given back. It's given back that nice big run we saw on Thursday. FOMC pump. I don't love that. But it's trending. It looks okay. It's pulled back last month. You've already taken out August's high. And you rejected August's high. I don't like that. But I do want to be a buyer on dips. I don't want to be buying fresh high breakouts. So if it could hold support, same thing here. Around the 21 exponential and daily support at 320.56. I could potentially put on some risk. But if I get a single daily close under 320, then I would have to evacuate that position and then look to see if the next day gets back above, or do you get downside continuation from there? In either case, I wouldn't be wanting to hold the long, right? So Bitcoin did ultimately reject, and it's running back down to that 4-hour demand zone. Not my favorite place for the entry, but I forgot about it, so I'm in it. I probably won't allow myself to eat a full stop on this. Unfortunately, the LPT trade did not give us the test we were looking for. It's literally rolling over before our level. I mean, it hit it twice. We just didn't catch it in time. So this may go without us. If it rejects this area here and then comes back to this level, I will not like it as much to the downside. Okay. If it rejects here and goes back up, I probably wouldn't like the short. We were looking for it to tag that level. We were looking to fill the short, and then we wanted to see a pretty quick expansion to the downside to put us into our 622 or 627 target. I'm not going to chase it. You shouldn't chase it either. And then Lifestyle Media says ZBCN. Excuse me. Yeah, this thing is basing up. It might not give us a support. If it continues to make higher lows as the day goes on, you might be watching this thing run later on in the day. I think the AIC trade is pretty much exhausted itself. At April's high. This is a 5-minute chart here. I've already taken $320 worth of profit off of it. I may go ahead and just close the rest, as that's another $144. It's right here. I'll move it to the top. Look at the chart. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I've only got $31 worth of margin on this trade. That's with 20x leverage. So I'm actually holding 2,270 tokens long. I've already been paid $320, and I still have $143 of unrealized potential. My problem with it right this second is it's losing this 4-hour high, and I don't love that. I wanted to see it maintain strength above that point. Because down here, you're also under the midpoint of this 4-hour candle. Now, there's still 1 hour and 17 minutes left on this candle. So exiting it this second might be premature. So I'm only going to give it a little bit more time. If it fails here, I'm going to just take my money and run. And then, of course, Bitcoin rejected, and Avantis also rejecting. However, I also took profits on this one as well. So might have to do the same thing on both of those. And then maybe watch for the Hemi trade, which seems to be trying to run without us right this second. Yeah. So at this point, it's just I need to manage that trade. So I'll give it a little bit more time to see what it does. All right. Lifestyle Media wants me to look at GSK Pharma. Chase says, oh, okay. Pharmaceuticals can run once they break out. If it does start to run and a short squeeze would start happening above 45, you could see it run pretty significantly because of how long it's been in that range. I'll leave it up to you to decide where you would want to put risk on. I don't love the chart because of that, but it's not a terrible asset because that short squeeze is potentially looming. Let me see if I can pull GSK up by itself on FinViz. Let me pull it up over here off the monitor real quick. All right, so we got FinViz pulled up here. Let's see if GSK comes up, and then I will look at your asset. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, there's two different ones. I'm gonna pull this one up. Yeah, this is the one, I think. I want to see the short float. It doesn't have a heavy short float. When you're looking for a short squeeze to take place on a stock, you want the short float to be above 15%. This isn't even got a 1% short float on it. That's why it hasn't been breaking out. Like, it's a huge float. It's got 2 billion shares on the float. They do make money, right? Their income is $4.43 billion. So they do make money. But yeah, for me to expect a large breakout, I would want to see this short float like beyond 15%. If that was the case, then I would be buying it. But there's hardly no short float. That's why it can't go up. It's like nobody's concerned with this thing. All right, so let's pull up ZBCN USDT for Lifestyle Media. So right off the bat, it doesn't look like it's trading on Binance. I gotta ask myself why. Yeah, still no Binance. Let's pull it up on weeks. It's moving today. Is it up? How much is it even up? I know it's up. It's up 17%. So why am I not? Oh, there it is. It's up 17%. And it's got 11 million tokens traded. Oh my goodness. Look at that wick. 137%. Looks okay. I mean, this thing is so thinly traded, man. See, when I see candles like this on a 4-hour chart, wiki, both directions, very small, like such small candles. Like this is just a tick. One tick, like one trade took place there. And then it gapped up. Like this thing's dangerous. Maybe it's not that bad on another exchange. Let's look at it on BitGet. Okay, on BitGet it looks better. Yeah, on BitGet it looks better. So maybe it's just new on weeks or something and it hasn't really gotten all that liquidity in yet. It looks okay. I don't like that it's already moved up so much and then rejected so much on BitGet. On this, it looks better. Yeah, this is something that I would pass up, me myself. It's not something. I mean, you're already smoking the 200 on the 5 minute. So whatever strength you did have, you do not have any longer. So look at the 5 minute chart here. Look how disgusting this is. All those sideways ticks. Just a straight line. Not many people are trading this. I want to jump on something where a lot of people are trading it. So if you look where it started to get its advance through here, then it pulled back into the 21, the buyers bought it up. Then it came into the 50, based up there for a couple hours, and then the buyers bought it up. Right? They kept doing it. So at this point, everybody was like, yeah, it's getting ready to go. And it doesn't. It throws in this crazy stuff right here. And now it's losing its upside momentum. You full on lost the upside momentum on the 1 minute chart. But the thing is, I mean, if you could catch a spike like that, it would be nice. But what if you get one of those spikes in the opposite direction? Because it can happen, right? Ouch. Just be careful, but I don't like it. I don't want to participate in this. I'd rather participate in something that is showing us that that strength is still there. The buyers are still there. Or the sellers are still there. Like something like that. We want to jump on something that's, still moving. Fartcoin here getting beat up again. Pingu looking for those fresh lows. Bonk with my Joker colors. Looking rough. I'm just going to close the Bitcoin trade out. I'm not going to eat a full-on $30 loss on it because there's no point. It's below the level that I want to see hold. It's not all the way under it yet, so I'll hold it for a little bit longer. But if it starts to put in fresh lows, I'm not going to want to hold it until we get a lower test. But I do honestly think Bitcoin, you know what I mean? As long as, well, here's the thing, the VIX is advancing. So I don't want you guys to keep trying to buy Bitcoin today, right? Not while we have an advancing VIX. Remember, I said I like the Bitcoin long if the VIX is trending lower today. It isn't. It's trending up. Shit. Sorry, wrong chart changed. So if you look at the VIX on the 30-minute here, that's yesterday. Here's today. You're trending up. So there's your daily range. That's what you've done today so far on the VIX. I like the Bitcoin long if the VIX is trending lower, going down. The fact that it set the low, then it set a daily high, came in, set a lower low, and then immediately went up and set a higher high. This is more of a bullish signal than a bearish signal. So as long as this is making fresh multiple daily highs, then that means it literally, right now, you've got the same amount of lows as you do highs, right? You made 2 daily lows, and so far you've made 2 fresh daily highs. So if you make another daily high on the VIX today, you at that point have a trend, right? It's trending up. It's going higher. Then I do not like trying to buy Bitcoin. Because if the VIX continues up, that means volatility is still expanding. If volatility is still expanding, then that means expect weakness inside of risk markets. Bitcoin is a risk market. So I'm not loving the Bitcoin long scalp here. And it's cool because, I mean, this is the best mitigation of risk you're ever going to see, guys. You're not going to see anybody on YouTube do it better. We've been in this trade almost an hour. And it rejected 4-hour resistance and came right back down to the entry. Yeah, see, this is spending more and more time under that 4-hour high. That means it's literally rejecting moving any higher. So we want to be, we want to just go ahead and look at that. Like, we did get a move up, instantly reject. So we're going to go ahead and close the AIC down. And go ahead and take our $138. And then that'll add to the already $320 we made. So $450 on that trade this morning. Not bad. Boom. See ya. Sayonara. We'll hold the event, even though it's doing the same thing. We just want to make sure that we have a stop loss out. And we do, right on our entry. So with this one, I'll just leave it alone because this one isn't up at all-time highs. This one's trading like a normal asset. It's just slowly moving higher. We are rejecting the breakout point here, but we're still well above the 4-hour midpoint. So we're still showing strength on the range. So there's no point in closing this one yet. This one looks like it could make advances still as the day goes on. Where AIC is literally rejecting those advances. It's not rejecting them hard. And at some point, yes, it could ultimately make a higher low. But we would revisit an entry then, right? If it does ultimately come down here and set a new support, maybe even as low as down in here, if it does build up support and keep holding support for like an hour and a half or whatever, then we could buy it again down in here. And then maybe we get lucky and it makes another run to the highs. But as of right now, I just get out. I'm already out. It's too late. I'm already out of it. So, yeah. If you got long AIC expecting more upside continuation, you might want to rethink that, because it's rejecting. It doesn't mean it will continue to reject. What I say, it's whenever I say it is currently doing something, it never means that it will continue to do that. Intraday price action is chaotic, right? It's uncontrolled chaos. You've got millions, billions, in Bitcoin's case, billions of trades taking place. And people are taking trades based on all different reasons, right? All different strategies, investment criteria, whatever. So it is literally impossible to figure out what it's going to do. We approach the market with an if this, then that type of thing, right? If it continues to do this, then we will do that. But yeah, it looks like it's rejecting. I would stay far away from that last one we looked at, lifestyle. That ZBCN thing, I would stay far away from this. I don't like this as a short or a long, to be honest with you. It does look like it could spike. It's trading above the daily 21. So, and daily res, even though it's so sideways and ugly here, is 41,058. So if it fails to go beyond that point today, one could argue that you're holding an intraday support. That's all the way down here. So that's it. Just it's not something I want to trade. All right, so yeah, Bitcoin, what's the matter with you? Looks like you're trying to go down and make fresh lows on us. What's Ethereum doing? Nothing really. Yeah, see, Ethereum's 4-hour demand looks better than Bitcoin's, the structure of it. The one thing that I do not like about Ethereum's price range today is it did not liquidate yesterday's low yet. So that's going to be a very important level moving on. So will 4-hour support right here. But if price is trading under 4-hour support, then I wouldn't be interested in it until it got all the way down into here. I don't think there would be any edge to it at that point until it got down in here. But with the VIX expanding, it's up at 1613 right now. So with that expansion on the VIX, kind of makes me a little bit concerned. Now, if the VIX makes that third fresh daily low, then that could help us on the Bitcoin long. But we would need that to happen. And it's not happening yet. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is making this push. That actually just triggered my stop. This is the level right here. So my entry was garbage. See, this is why I try to tell you guys to not chase price, because now would be the time to put that on, not up here. That's the best entry right here. Seeing what it's going to do here. Let's get a look at our intraday volume structure. Ugh, I don't like that. Sellers are looking for lower lows. Yeah, I don't like that. The point of control is up here, but I would like it if Bitcoin found support, because if it could get back up in this region, it starts triggering all of these shorts stops, and that could launch it up into last week's low. But I don't want to be a buyer on it while it's making fresh swing lows. It's not a fresh daily low. Your daily low on Bitcoin is all the way down here. So it's not a fresh day low down here. But you are trading under the, what I would call the London session low, which was right here. London session for me opens at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That should be like 9 o'clock for you guys that live in London. That's your London session low. Yeah, Bitcoin just doesn't have much volatility in the intraday ranges anymore. That's why I've been focusing so much on those crazy altcoins that are just rocking and rolling. I think I think this thing could be, I think I could actually, if it can hold this, what is that? 2.0870, that previous 4-hour candle high, because your weekly VWAP is right here. This is your current week's VWAP. So right now it looks like it's rejecting, right? It looks like the sellers got involved up here. And that is a liquidation. These two swings right here, that's what you've liquidated. It's not a daily high. It's only an intraday high. If it can hold support here, I would re-enter again. I would be willing to potentially buy it again. Yeah. Absolutely. Ignore this $2 mark. I was hoping that it rejected $2 earlier this morning, and I was looking to enter on a pullback into here. This is your intraday VWAP right here. The white line. Let me get rid of the moving averages. So white, always daily. Green, always weekly. Blue, always monthly for me. It just shows me where the strength is inside the month, inside the week, and inside the day. As long as you're trading above these two VWAPs right here, the bulls are in control, right? They're in control of order flow. So I could, in theory, buy a pullback into this area and add to my position. DCA up. Because I've already taken $200 of profit off the table. Now, when I DCA, if I DCA up, what that does is it brings my cost basis up higher. So that just simply means that I'm risking all of the unrealized P&L at that point. That's all I'm risking, because my stop loss will also follow the entry. Right now, my stop is set at break even, and it will stay like that no matter what I do moving on into the day. So if I do re-enter or DCA into this at a higher price, I'll have my stop moved up to break even. And then if it does ultimately run, in theory, I could take off another couple $100. Good day. Another good day in the books. Not on the stock account, as we did close the COP for a loss. And MicroStrategy is not looking good either, as it's rolling over as well. Hemi did make a fresh daily high and instantly rejected. I do not like that. It doesn't mean it's over, and I don't know if I'd be willing to short it because of that. Yeah, no, I don't think I could short it based on that, but if you think it's done and you want to short it, you would want to see 18 cents hold. Because if it does hold, then this could be looked at as a liquidation only. Like there wasn't any real serious demand in it. Looking for a much higher push. Whoever sold here just sold again, is the way I would look at it. So any spike back up into 18 and a failure could be a short. I don't know that I can short it here. Too often we've seen these things set highs, reject highs, look like it's done, and then boom, you know what I mean? Continue its run. And this is on a multi-day run. And looking at this 4-hour candle here, like, doesn't look like a short. But to be fair, the move is exhausted. If you took a measured move, remember this morning we said you could get a measured move out of that up to around that area. Well, we got it. We just got it. Boom. So your one leg pullback, expansion, secondary leg, your ABC wave has been completed with that move. Doesn't mean it will continue to break down today. It just simply means that that was a good place to take profits for anybody that got long in here and in here. Up there was a fabulous place to start scaling out. And that's why we're seeing a rejection. It's still very strong. Under the midpoint, then it starts to look a little bit more weak. DXY ain't breaking down. Yeah, I know. And it's pissing me off because I'm still holding that USD JPY short. And I was looking for that run to be sold into. It looks like they're going to do what we said we had to be careful of. And that's the Dixie sellers not showing up until like 7 days from now. We have to be concerned with that, because we're going to have a new quarter open. We did get rate cuts. So with this rejecting a breakdown, it looks to me as if though the rate cuts were already priced into the market. And other people are going to view it like that as well, because all you did was liquidated July's low and instantly went back up into the range. So it does look, because yesterday it looked good. I wanted to see what happened yesterday continue today. We're not getting it. Not yet. It may roll over before the Q4 open, but I can't do anything until that happens. If it continues to make fresh daily swing highs, I'm going to exit my USD JPY short. Because at this point, it is not working, and it has not been working for so long. It's so ugly. This is one of the ugliest Forex charts I've seen in a long time. This brings me back to like 2016, 2017, when the USD JPY just like literally would not move. And see this crap right in here? That's after 2020, but like through here, it was just so slow. It was very choppy. Going into the pandemic, just super choppy. But even here, those were tradable moves. We're not even getting tradable moves in what we're in right now. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you're about to break out of the trend line from just going freaking sideways. The trend line we wanted to see it break is this one. If it keeps doing this, it's going to run right through that trend line. This is a failed breakdown. I'm short from here. I shorted right before NFP. Because I was looking for this trend to continue. This downtrend for 2025. This is a 5-month consolidation. I was looking for to sell the 5-month consolidation highs and look for the bear flag breakdown. But at some point, this no longer is a bear flag. I mean, it still is technically, but it is the ugliest price action. So I've been here, I'm just eating the carry. Because the longs are getting paid to hold this, not the shorts. Based on the interest rate differential. So it's not a great look. I wish it would break down. It's not doing it. I haven't even looked to see how much unrealized profits I've lost just based on the carry. It's probably significant at this point. But yeah, I mean, as long as the yen is weak, guys, we're not expecting the markets to break down. As long as the yen remains weak, we want to be bullish risk assets. So we have the VIX expanding today. The VIX is expanding today, and yet the yen is doing nothing today. On the days where you get VIX upside expansion and Japanese yen upside expansion, those are days that you're okay probably looking for short scalps on the SPY or the S&P. All right. Then you can look for short scalps on that. But as long as your yen is weak here, as long as the VIX is weak, you don't want to be looking for short scalps. You're going to get rended over. Yeah, it sucks. Check Aussie yen. Yeah, same thing. It has it bounced? And it's not really doing anything today, but oh, what the hell? This is the old school stuff. Yeah, this looks like a pullback. Looks like a pullback. Looks like a year open check, maybe. Yeah. This is a buying opportunity, or was earlier today. Probably not right this second, but earlier today would have been a buying opportunity. The London session. London session gave you 2 chances to be a buyer on Aussie yen. I wasn't awake during that time, so I don't love it here because the VIX is elevated today. I don't want to be a buyer on the Aussie yen as long as the VIX remains elevated. If the VIX rolls over, then I could potentially be a buyer on Aussie yen. Yeah, here I could be a buyer. If 30-minute support holds, I could be a buyer there even. If the VIX rolls over, S&P starts to find a low. Like S&P might be putting in the low right now of day. If the S&P is putting in the low of day, we could be a buyer. That's your low of day right there. We could be a buyer on the yen, Aussie yen. But I don't necessarily want to be a buyer while the VIX is expanding. And the yen is currently unchanged on the day. It's not advancing and it's not really breaking down. It's kind of just it's down 0.03%. It's unched. It's literally unchanged on the day. It's trading at the day open. The yen is. So while that's happening on an expanding VIX, I don't necessarily want to be a yen seller. Also, Swiss franc is also pulling back. So what's Bitcoin doing now? Did Bitcoin ultimately bounce? It freaking did. See that old daily res level, guys? I chased the long entry on Bitcoin like an idiot. See, even I make mistakes. And I've got a lot of screen time. And I still end up making terrible entries. I do a lot of really good looking entries as well, but based on what the yen and the Swissy are doing, based on the fact that we just put in the low of day on the S&P, VIX is still up on the day, but it's pulling back. Actually, it's not even up on the day anymore. The VIX is currently neutral on the day. So the VIX is pulling back. If the VIX continues to push lower today, Bitcoin will more than likely move higher. It's not guaranteed. There's nothing 100% guaranteed in trading. But you can still watch Bitcoin for a potential long today, as long as the VIX and the yen are both retreating back to day lows. I like DXY higher to about the 50% of that swing high and the FOMC low. Measure that range. Did you say please? No, I'm kidding. Okay, let me read that again. About the mid of the swing high. What swing high? There's hundreds of them. And the FOMC low. So here, what swing high? That's your FOMC low. I don't know if you're talking about a daily, a weekly, or a monthly swing high. Can you be specific? It doesn't have to be the exact day. Just at least let me know if it's intra week or what. Like, if you're talking about like this. Wait, no, you said you like it higher to about the 50% of what swing? Are you talking about this swing? August 1 high. So August high. So you're fibbing this low to August high? You're going backwards in time, my friend. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Really and truly it is, I guess. I like to fib in the direction of the candle, but so you think it could come up to here? It makes sense. There's old daily res up there. Yeah, it makes sense. So I would just fib August high to there, like, and I would just pull it to the downside. That's August's low, though, right there. This is September's low. But I see what you're saying. Yeah. Oh. I see what you're saying. Absolutely, it could trade up to there. You got, right here's your daily res swing. So here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's a weekly swing high. Right there is a weekly swing high. It's not an intraday or a daily. It's literally a weekly swing high. So yeah, it could go all the way up there easily. I do remember what we said on Sunday, though. I said that if the DXY can liquidate last week's high and then roll over, then I'm going to hold my yen short, or my USD JPY short. We did exactly that. That's exactly what we did this week. It's just Tuesday, so could the weekly low be in? It's possible. The weekly high could be in also. We literally liquidated last week's high. That would have been an absolutely flawless place to put on dollar shorts. Here's Sunday. Monday's open. You pushed up, liquidated. So we need to go 1,700 hours. Well, 1,800 hours. Here's your day open. Sunday evening. We traded up, liquidated the high, liquidated it again, and then rolled over. So as of right now, this intra-week trend is still good to the downside. In fact, you're still holding resistance here. So we'll see what happens, but could still end up playing out, right? This week. But yeah, it could definitely hit up to that midpoint before rolling over. That would make more sense to me. As far as if it breaks back out above last week's high, as long as it's under last week's high, I have to be bearish on the dollar, especially seeing how we just got rate cuts and there are more rate cuts planned for this year and rate cuts planned for next year. That seems like it should be bearish dollar. Seems like you should be looking for bearish dollar positions. So it's late month. Late month is kind of a real bad time to put on new positions for monthly range expansions. Because your monthly swing traders, like the traders that are positioning themselves at the beginning of every single month, those dudes are taking profits and getting ready to look for new positions. Then your longer term quarterly traders, those guys, they're getting ready to start putting on some positions. So the dollar may trade sideways to higher for the next 7 days. But if I was scalping the dollar, like if I was actively seeking out intraday scalps on the dollar, right now, I would have to be bearish. I would have a bearish bias. Based on the daily 21, based on everything, right? Being a dollar short seller is still intact. But it may, it may, of course, it can do anything. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap it up, I guess. There's no other questions. I'm not really seeing anything on the very near term here. I should have jumped in the Advent as I was talking about it here because it's trying to run higher. I would like to be able to get back in this with a full-size position. But if I do it now, it's going to bring my cost basis way too high. And if it does start to run strongly, then even though I only have a very small position open, if it pushes, it could absolutely turn into a big winner. depending on how out of control it gets. If it gets out of control. Yeah, it's got to rally above prior week's high. Yeah, it does. For me, in order for me to be looking for bullish entries on the dollar, I would need it above last week's high. As long as it's trading under last week's high, for me, my intra-week, intraday bias would be looking for shorts. But above last week's high, all that goes out the window. Absolutely. Nothing is moving as far as our favorites like XRP, Bonk, Link, XMR, Pepe, Farcoin, Book of Meme, Ethereum. Everything is just sideways. No continuation either up or down yet to speak of. Now, if Farcoin and these things don't break out to the upside eventually, then I would be more or less leaning for more downside. Because remember, Farcoin did not liquidate. You did not liquidate Sunday's or Monday's low. You did not liquidate Bonk's Monday low either. You did on Pingu. So I would probably be looking for shorts on Bonk and Fart and looking for longs on Pingu, just based on liquidation structure. What needs to happen for me to put back on long risk is I definitely need to see the VIX pushing on lows and the S&P pushing away from lows. As long as the VIX is pushing up, I have more of a bearish bias for today's range. What is a Farcoin, brother? Farcoin is a meme token in the crypto market. It's a legit asset. I know. That's what I said when I first heard about it. Someone asked me to look up Farcoin one day, and I was like, what is this pile of ass? Making a joke, but it's literally real. And I was like, oh my gosh. You know what's even cooler, Abraham? This thing moves, dude. Like, it's got mad volume. It trades like 30, 40, 50 million tokens. Here, let me pull up Fart just so I can see Fartcoin, what it's done today alone. It's traded 18 million tokens today alone. So it's got lots of volume and it moves. Like on average, this thing moves between like 5 and 8% per day. When you're moving that much, intraday scalpers love trading Fartcoin. And occasionally, dude, like we shorted it up here at 94 cents. So needless to say, we made some damn good money on that. It can trend. When it starts trending, it can really take off. That's why people trade it. The name is crazy. It's a meme token. It really has no utility at all. It's literally just like Doge, right? It's a Doge coin. It's a meme token. There's no utility, no actual value other than what speculators agree or agree on, right? But it moves a lot more than Doge. It has more of an intraday movement. So it's a lot funner to trade it. Love it. I love trading it. The other meme tokens that we watch are Bonk, Pingu, and Book of Meme. All of these things came off pretty good Sunday. So yeah, all of them looking pretty rough right now. And then here's Pingu. Got wrecked. Yeah, it's a pretty good size move. That's a 23% move in 2 days. Like, come on. Bitcoin right now is up 0.25%. So it has not even moved 1% from the open. Bitcoin hasn't. It is literally just doing nothing. So yeah, that's why we track these things, because we like to scalp that volatility. Fantastic. Go on gold if you want volatility. Well, yeah, I got you. I get you. We just got out of a gold long. So we're not in gold right now, because gold, you can't really do much for gold. It's hold it if you got it, right? If you're long gold, keep holding it. It's doing good. But we had a target of 340 on gold. We hit the targets, we bailed. We hit targets, we bailed. We looked for our entry in this area for the breakout, and it's rocking and rolling to the upside. I own gold coins, and I also trade it on paper. Gold is a fabulous mover. But even gold is not more of a volatile asset. Whether you're looking at GUD or this, it is not more volatile than Farcoin. I'm sorry. Gold right now is only up 0.8% on the day. On the day. So Farcoin it'll move that in 10 minutes. Like, it'll do that in 10 minutes. Farcoin's volatility way beyond gold. Just depending on what asset you're trading. If you're trading like a Forex XAU USD, this is up 0.94%. So it's moved about 1% today. If you bought the open, you would be up 1%. Right? So Farcoin can definitely outmove gold. It isn't today, but it just come off of a 23% drop. So pretty sideways. But gold is fun to trade when it is moving, and it is moving right now. NQ is much more volatile if you want trade fi movement. I disagree, guys. Listen, I can put 100x leverage on Farcoin. I can't put 100x leverage on NQ or gold. And for NQ to move 5% in one day, that would be a massive move. I don't think you're quite understanding the concept here. Percent gain or percent loss on a per day basis is much more significant on Farcoin than anything else. Anything else except a penny stock. Like, we see that type of movements. Right now, there's assets in the crypto world up 88% today alone. 88% in one day. Hello. Gold and Bitcoin and everything's up 1% today. What is the NQ up today? Where is it? Where is it? I have it here. On watch. Give me a second. It's up. Nope, sorry. NQ down 0.16%. NQ, ES, and occasionally gold sometimes move like Forex. And Forex is levered up, right? So if you're only seeing a 1 or a 2% move, even with 50x leverage, you're still going to do better on a product like Farcoin. You just don't have this much liquidity. So I would never try to sell $50,000 worth of Farcoin or buy $50,000 worth of Farcoin and scalp in and out with a $50,000 position size, whereas I could do that with millions of dollars in the S&P or NASDAQ or gold. You know what I mean? So I'm not trading with $1 million position sizes, so I don't need to worry about that thin liquidity. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up. Thank y'all for being here. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Keep your eyes open. Things could start moving. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.